clearly see I'm known as a targeted individual, or a TI, which means I'm kind of like I've been under surveillance for quite a while, and this is what happens in the UK. If you're having these kinds of interactions, you're targeted. You're known as a targeted individual, and your life's not the same. And that's what happens. And exhaustion can stalk you, and it can sometimes be a miserable existence. And it is highly, highly classified and secret that we are not alone in the universe. It's been covered up, and it certainly has. The mainstream media, all they want to do is sometimes just laugh at you, and I've had a couple of emails about that telling me to stay away from it. Other emails telling me how appalled I was about the way I was portrayed, but I keep hitting. I keep just carrying on, trucking on with it. But what I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that I have some extraordinary goings on. Last year I had some extraordinary goings on with these people that are not from round here, that are Scandinavian looking, but aren't human, in very advanced craft. And that's it, in a nutshell. Why apologise for it? That's it. There's no millions of hits on YouTube. I'm not a multi-millionaire from it. I'm quite a broken man, really, because of it. It's times not been easy. And that's it, really. So there's nothing to lose. You have to ask yourself these questions, and I'm just rambling here at the camera. What I wanted to discuss is the other day I was absolutely tired out with things. I'd got up early in the morning just to do a job with somebody, and came back and had a kip. Now, that's interesting. When I have a sleep, it's very different probably to somebody else having a sleep, because I see all kinds of things, all things start to happen, all kinds of things start to happen, because my awareness is kind of like, in very simple terms, in another place, in another point of perception, which can make the going heavy because of what's happened to me, and that can be extremely complex. It's as if I'm giving off like a calling card or a unique signature that somebody's been here. In my mind, something's been here, and I'm part of some extraordinary happenings and events that I cannot comprehend. So I've nothing to lose, stood here just talking to you about this. Why, just nothing to lose at all. And why would I lie? Well, I don't need to lie. Just tell it like it is. Because people know when they're being bullshitted as well, and they do know. Hence probably all the supportive emails that I get, because people know when they're spinning them a yarn, and I've no investment in spinning anyone a yarn. It's just a story that I have to tell. So the other morning, afternoon should I say, I am fast asleep, and once again, just as I'm nodding off, I hear this voice in the room, and it was only about 2 o'clock. Daylight is actually when they do fly over, so I'm aware on film. I can film them. And I'm aware when I'm asleep, when they're coming over, they'll make their presence felt, which is it's a doddle. It really is. There's ethical questions that arise as I'm talking to camera in my mind about that, about what they're doing, but that's what they're doing, and there seems to be no getting away with it. It's quite extraordinary. Anyway, we're getting quite stressed out about things, quite worried about all that's been going on, which you would be, ladies and gents. You certainly would be. And so, I fall asleep, and I just hear this voice that says, "Calm down." And I'm just nodding off, and I hear it again say, "Calm down." And it wasn't a voice in my head either. It was a voice that was displaced, curiously heard in the room, which can happen. It can happen. Years ago it happened as well, where years ago I was stood in the room, just come back from work, absolutely knackered. And there's this metallic sounding strange voice moving through the room, and I heard it, and I thought, my God, what's all that? And when I looked outside the window, I saw this UFO, this kind of like white dot flying over the house, and that was years back, so it can happen. So what we had is this scenario the other day of the thing, whatever it was, telling me to calm down. And then I was told that we'll have further visions coming my way from these Scandinavian type groupings. And what is interesting to note is that I am dealing with possibly three groups here. One is dimensional. One does not look like us, but is like us. Tan skin, very odd facial features, but their technology is just radically different from ours. And probably at the speed of thought and at the speed of a space-time continuum, this was quite apparently easy to do, which it is. That's the biggest theory and secret of it all, really. So what I'm doing is I'm actually placing secrets in plain view. Nobody's taking any notice, really. I mean, it's just I'm sat in the corner of YouTube, but I am being closely watched. They know, elements of the government, I think, do know. And when we say the government, we don't mean Mr. Cameron in number 10, who's the current Prime Minister. We just mean that there are elements out there, scientific elements, that do know these UFOs exist and do know some of the human race are having contact experiences, and therefore we're closely monitored. I'm afraid that's just the fact of life with it. So what we've got is this scenario where I was told that these further visions would start to come from them. Now, that's of immense interest to certain parties who will be watching this, that I do know. And what's happening is these visions that come from these people who are not from round here, who are Scandinavian looking. If you look at, as I say, the folklore of the Zulu nation, that will explain everything about them. They're normally called the Wazugu, or the children of the dust devil. They're tall, blonde, they're Scandinavian, and they fly around in fantastic craft. That doesn't necessarily mean to say that their ethics or their human rights or anything like that is acceptable, ladies and gents. It doesn't mean to say that at all. So falling asleep and calm down in the room, and then I fell asleep. And that can have all kinds of interesting connotations to it, because your awareness is kind of like in free fall. It's like a radio dial. It's like perception is tuning in across a broad spectrum of the universe, or of life in the universe, and you're hearing things, and you're kind of like, your perception is wide open, which can be very very tiring, very, very tiring. I wouldn't even describe myself as a spiritual man from my experiences. I'd just describe myself as somebody who's morally bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt, and maybe financially bankrupt, in that order. So I have nothing to lose. I have no investment in lying to you. I don't need to. I'm not interested in really I'm just interested in capturing the moments. If I could be stood here now and something might happen there again, something might not. But I'm waffling, I digress. So, falling asleep, and then what I wanted to convey to you is what happened next, because they turned up. These Scandinavian people turned up. The question I have to ask myself is, did they turn up, or was it projecting from somewhere else, which can be quite easily done? I'm looking at a prominent quantum physics researcher to discuss a theory that I have about this, which will be interesting. I'll get you the results on that. But the last time they turned up was incredible, where they turned up with two triangles flying outside the house as I slept. So as I slept, I saw these two giant vehicles turn up. They were big triangles, and they displayed two visions to me of clocks. One was at 15 minutes to midnight, and one was at 5 to midnight, and it was spectacular. And they didn't look from round here, and I'm going to do a separate YouTube clip about that one, and I'll put the link in for you. But they were warning, at that period they were warning, and they were speaking to someone, but I don't know who, via me. So I was acting like as a repeater, because this is a very classified kind of deep black operation in dealing with them. And what I wanted to capture to you is not the facts of what happened, it's rather the feeling and perception of what they were doing when they turned up the other day. And what they did is they flew across the house. And I was asleep, but I knew that they'd literally flown across the house. And what it was this humming silence, and this kind of unique iconography that they have, which is a blend of animation that's similar to human beings, really, but not quite similar. It has a bit of their animation has a bit of Maya mixed in it, a bit of iconography, a bit of. It's quite funny, quite amusing. And what they did is they flew over, and it was a female that flew over, and it was her who I've seen before, and the reason, and comical as though this may be, their hairstyles are quite out there. They're a rum lot, and some of them have Mohicans and spiked hair, and it's bizarre, but they're not from round here, so there you go. Why? We're in a society that's tearing itself apart. What the hell would I know? But what was interesting is they flew over, and there was this silence from them, as if to say, yes, we're here, you know it, I know it, but just nobody else does. It's between me and you, kind of thing. I'm just flying over the house. And there was this kind of like comical animation. So what they were doing is, instead of displaying what they actually looked like to me, which would be shocking, It's not shocking, it's just shocking for me, because there's a lot of spiritually orientated people who would probably accept it. I mean, I accept it. I've had years of it, but at that time it would just be a bit of a shocker the other day, because my head was a shed with everything. And so they came in over the house, and it was her. And she was very animated, so it wasn't the real her, it was an animation of her, so that I knew who she was and what she looked like. So it would be just a bit more gentle on me, on the mind, just a bit more gentle, if you get my drift, ladies and gentlemen. And then what happened was she displayed this camera, this big film camera, and it was this big comical-looking film camera, which she displayed. And what they did is they had the motion, and she also, the kind of like the animation was moving as if flying over the house. But what was interesting was not the animation, it was the silent liaison between us. Just this silent liaison as the world went about its business, as if they were strangers in a stranger's land, as if this planet was a strange place to them. And they were just keeping it kind of quiet that they were here. They didn't intend to harm anyone. They were of no defence threat to anyone. They were just going about their business. Where the craft was, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure. I think it was directly over. And I do know for a fact, I'll make a pledge to you that I'm going to film them. I think that's going to happen as well. I really do. But I'm a man with nothing to lose. Just nothing to lose in doing any of this. And as I say, we just tucked away my little kind of YouTube site, my little website there, just talking about all this, getting it down on camera. Not even trying to convince people, really, just trying to convey to people what goes on and how it can affect you, and it has done in many ways. And it's a question also of ethics, because there is disagreement among them regarding a certain issue that's happening, and that was even fascinating in itself. And it's an issue of morals and ethics. It is, because as I repeatedly say, if you was a contact experiencer, and it's not like it's in the books, ladies and gents, or on the internet about contact with little grey men from Mars, it just doesn't work like that. There are some fundamental theories that I'm exploring on it. It begins with the mind, and it can integrate into them flying over the house. They're on a duality, which is interesting. But as I've often said, if you are in liaison with, and I do recommend the book Co-Evolution by Alec Newell, but just to say, if you are in liaison with an intelligence or a people that is dimensional, if you are in liaison with them, that can lead to all kinds of problems for you, because they leave a signature in like a time space. The human consciousness, the human subconsciousness is a vast sea, a vast ocean of awareness, and a signature can be left by them that causes like a time signal, in simple terms. This time signal is heard. It's heard here, there and everywhere, and that can cause major problems for the experiencer. And that appears to be, in very basic terms, what the issue is among them. They appear to have absolved all responsibility of their actions and turned round and more or less said that I'm part of it all, that it's really my fault, while absolving no moral responsibility for the shock that they've left behind. And I will tell you, there are probably other experiencers who had contact with them, only to have their lives being left shattered by them because of their ethics. As Colonel Philip Corso said, they are foreign, and they are foreign. It's foreign technology, foreign crew, foreign military, foreign government, but not from round here. It's that simple, and it's the reality of it. And so this is what seems to be the issue around them. And it appears that these Scandinavian-looking people, I won't call them aliens, I'll call them people, and they're a rum lot. It appears that they are the ones who have stepped up the ante in watching over me, because it's been hair-raising for the very information that I've just given. Sorry, my brain, my head's spinning, but for the very information that I've just given, it's caused problems. There are some forces on the planet that need to be respected. There are dark forces, supernatural forces, and I'll just leave you with this important thing. These things that are coming in over the house that aren't from round here, from another galaxy, are aware of supernatural forces just like we are. Sometimes the universe is even a baffling place for them, despite their high-grade technology and all that kind of thing. But it is this group, the Scandinavian group, that I appear to be now fully liaising with, really, and they're being very gentle about it, and they're stepping it up all the time, but being very gentle and almost comical. If I'm reminded of if anybody's seen the comic 2000 AD when it used to be out, I'm reminded of the of the cartoon characters who drove around in this great big spacecraft, which was the equivalent of a haulage vehicle, called road luggers, it was called, I think. Something like that. And I'm reminded of possibly a scenario where all of a sudden I'm going to be catapulted up into this crazy scenario of these people who are just not from round here, who are a rebellious rum lot, high technology, and I'll be, carted off somewhere with them to find out more about them. I think it's a climatisation process and a very subtle one. But the point I wish to convey in camera after this near 15-minute spiel to you is the gentleness that was shown by them, which might not necessarily be gentle, it might be just part of an agenda. But the gentleness, and it's that. What was interesting was that moment of silence between us. The world was going around about its business. They were here. I was aware of them. They were aware of me. The liaison was just quietly going on. Nobody's noticed. C'est la vie. Catch you later. And that was what happened. It's that real and that simple. And the animation that they did was very unique as well. Okay. I think that's the end of today's blog. Nothing much more to say. I'm hoping, though, to get something nice on camera for you. Thanks for your continued support, and catch you later.